Okay, rumor has it that we're live on YouTube now, although
All right.
I don't know if I entirely believe it. There it is. It's still counting down. Ironically, there is a countdown there, but I'm hoping that it will be... It says we're streaming, so...
Let's see. Waiting for 6 colors.
Yeah, I wonder what's going on with that. It may just be that it's waiting for it to be to 12:30, and then it's going to show up. But we are live on Relay, and I've got some various controls for various things. It's pretty funny. Let's see.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
I got a lot of software happening here.
Your computer can take it.
It can. That's the beauty of it. It totally can take it.
I have the SpaceX YouTube picture-in-picture next to you. Yeah.
Nice. It's all working here. All right, YouTube. What's going on?
There are a lot of excited engineers in that room.
It's pretty exciting.
It's exciting. It almost didn't happen. Lots of weather delays today. That upper wind will get you.
Okay, why are we not live? Now I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure.
I am told that we're live, and yet it's not showing as live. Live now, to watching now.
There we go.
Oh.
It is.
Yay!
What was in my subscription list is not live, but there's something else called 6 Colors live stream that's live.
Okay, well that's what it is then. So I guess I'll tweet that out.
The Liftoff Falcon Heavy Launch you could probably mark as.
I don't know what happened there, but there it is. At least some version of it. So I'm gonna just do that, and then yeah, all right. So we're live. Hi everybody who almost nobody who's watching or listening. So if you are listening on Relay because you heard that Liftoff was live, we are watching the SpaceX Falcon Heavy launch attempt here, which is very exciting. Hugely, amazingly exciting, honestly. And we're going to be talking about it on the Relay stream. We also have a live YouTube stream. If you go to Liftoff Podcast on Twitter, you can see a link there to our live video stream that we're trying out, which is just me and Steven, and we'll put up. I have the power. Let's do this. This will be people like this. I have the power to go bloop, and then it's us and the SpaceX stream. So if you wanna watch the launch here and see us and see SpaceX, you can do that because it's live now. So that's exciting. And they're just they're talking in the background there, so it's a little distracting.
Yeah.
But it's very exciting. See, I made it go away. See what I did there? It's a little weird.
A lot of windows open. All right. Yeah. Anyway, so SpaceX is going on, and we're watching. So Falcon Heavy, to talk about it. This is it's a huge deal. A lot of the space journalists that we follow have been excited for this moment for a very long time. It's been since 2013. That was the initial plan for this, and that didn't happen. Elon time.
Yeah, well, it happens. The Musk dates and real dates, but I love his optimism, even though it's sort of marketing too. And so, they've been working on this for a long time, and this is the most powerful. What do we say? It's the most powerful rocket since the Saturn V, and there's nothing with this capability currently in operation.
Yeah, I've got some numbers prepared. The Falcon Heavy will generate 5 million pounds of thrust at liftoff. The Saturn V was at 7.5 million, just kind of giving you an idea between the two, 5 versus 7.5. But it is at 5 million pounds of thrust, twice as powerful as any other booster. The current sort of heavy vehicle is the Delta IV Heavy, and the Falcon Heavy beats it pretty soundly. The payload capability of the Falcon Heavy is 141,000 pounds, about 64,000 kilograms. Again, twice the Delta IV Heavy. And if you took this thing down on its side, it really is just 3 Falcon 9. So there are 27 Merlin first stage engines that have to fire in unison and not explode. So it's a lot of stuff to happen all at once.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. And if this lunch, so forgive me, I'm also eating my lunch. I should probably not. That's bad podcasting. But this got delayed, so they're fueling it up. They are going to launch in this window. This launch window is very short, so there's not a lot of time. They had to delay a lot because of some high winds at altitude that were above their threshold. But now they think they're going to go. You can tell that because it's a big deal to fuel this thing, which is what they've done now. That it costs money. It's dangerous to fill it up, to top it up with all the fuel, and it's all in there now. It's all fueled up, so it's ready to go. And when this launches, if it launches, and this is a first chance at this. Like, it could fail to ignite, it could explode on the pad, which could be really bad for SpaceX because it would set back, it would damage the pad itself and the gantry, which could be very expensive and a long time to fix if that happens. And also their thing that they're building for crew, for commercial crew, so that the crew can board the regular Falcon 9, that's nearby there too, so that could also be damaged potentially in something that happens. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to say this is a possibility because this is the first time this is launched. If it does launch and continues on its way, which again, it's an experimental craft, essentially. We'll see. But we could end up with a spectacular set of things. It's so exciting to have Falcon 9 with the first stage returning to the launch site. Well, Stephen, this thing has essentially 3 Falcon 9s on it and
yeah.
First stages, and they're all going to attempt to land back either on land or in the sea on a barge as a part of this. So we would have 3 simultaneous, more or less, first stage re-landings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the outer 2 Falcon 9s will be put down on land, which of course we've seen before, and then the core booster, that one in the center, would land on the drone ship, of course, I Still Love You. And the two of these 3 cores, I think it's 2 out of 3, have been flown before. The outer 2 were on previous missions. So again, SpaceX is building the case that they can refly these things, even in what is a new configuration and an experimental launch.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on here, and that's why when I talk about like the downsides of it, we have to keep that in mind. That even Elon Musk was like, well, if it doesn't explode, he said at one point, they're obviously, look, you don't go through with this if you don't have some degree of hope that it's going to work, but there is this understanding that things are going to go wrong. In rocketry, things can really go wrong at times, and you learn from it. They had a rocket blow up on the pad when they weren't even. It was like a fuel test. They weren't even at the firing stage. They were just fueling it, and it exploded, and that set them back. But they learned some things about that. Sometimes a successful launch. We've talked about some of the Apollo launches that have been. The Apollo launches that were nominally successful, but were full of problems that they learned from. So in space, it can really run the gamut. But this is why people are excited about this launch. It is a huge step forward for SpaceX if it works, and there is a degree of risk here because they are on the cutting edge with this rocket. This is a big step for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And and think about all that. All of the normal launch issues also have to go, right? So the range has to be clear, so no boats or planes downrange. Remember, there was I think it was a SpaceX launch maybe 5 or 6 months ago that had a little fisher boat in the way, and they had to cancel because they need a clear path, right? Something comes down in the ocean, and you make sure no one is there. And then again, like you said, the wind was the issue earlier today. So high level winds, not on the ground, but where the vehicle is going to go. That all has to be green, and that's been the delay today. But here in just a few minutes, all that stuff will be in the past, hopefully.
Yeah, we hope so. And we've never done anything like this before on this end, but we thought it might be fun for us to watch this together and to do a little live stream because this is a big deal, and for all the reasons mentioned. And like I said, the space journalists are very excited about space because that's why they're space journalists. But they are extra excited today. This is a huge thing that has been hovering in their to-do list for a long time, and I'd say it's the most excitement I've seen for one of these launches since the last space shuttle launch.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of excitement. My space Twitter list has been impossible to keep up with today. We have a lot of people we know who are there in Florida watching it in person, and it's exciting. You know, we are kind of in this phase. We've talked a lot about this on the show, where we're very much in between when it comes to NASA itself. Right, the shuttle has been gone for several years. SLS is still a ways off. And even commercial crews delayed, but we are in these stages of building sort of the next generation worth of flight hardware. And we are seeing a lot of companies move into this, SpaceX having the most success so far, but this is their next chapter, right? This is the vehicle that SpaceX can use to support lunar missions, to support Mars missions. And launch
really big satellites.
Really big satellites. And more easily get to geostationary orbit. But even this vehicle, what's really interesting, I was thinking about it earlier today, even this vehicle is sort of an in-betweenie, right? We have the Falcon 9 and we have this, but SpaceX has been talking about the BFR. And there's a lot of question, I think, about where the Falcon Heavy is gonna stand. Is this going to be a vehicle that stands the test of time, that they get a lot of use out of? Or does the BFR come online here in several years and this vehicle will sort of be in no man's land in between?
Yeah, the argument is that the Falcon Heavy has been delayed so long that the BFR, the larger rocket that SpaceX is designing, would catch it up, to the point where Elon Musk said this week that they may not ever bother to get Falcon Heavy human rated for a crew, because if BFR is coming in a few years, then they may just get that human rated and not worry about this, because they wouldn't need to send humans on this one. They'll either use the Falcon 9 for low Earth orbit, or they'll use the BFR. I think I would argue that the delay that you get for Falcon Heavy will probably happen to BFR, and that it took them an extra 5 years to get this thing out there to this point, so that they may want to keep that in mind when they're talking about the BFR time frame as well. I'm sure they're perfectly aware that this sort of thing happens. They've topped off the engines, by the way, now, and the engine chill has started. So things are really moving along here with, as we sit here, 3 minutes and 45 seconds left before the planned launch. Are we gonna, when we get close, we're gonna shut up and turn up the volume, aren't we?
Yes.
I suspect
we will.
So.
We will cede to the
and then you'll just hear us whooping, just like all the people at SpaceX will be whooping or crying or whatever else. I mean, the drama is tough. Imagine being Elon Musk, right? Where this could be the moment of incredible triumph, or really not, or a major problem for your business. That's the kind of drama, the kind of swing in the fortunes of SpaceX that could happen with something like this. I mean, we use moonshot as a metaphor for a reason, right? We use it's not rocket science to describe things that are not as hard as the hardest thing imaginable, because rocket science is an incredibly hard thing. There are reasons we use these metaphors in our lives. It's because space is very, very hard. It's a hard business to be in.
So we're about 2.5 minutes away, 2:37, 2:36. Any last thoughts, Jason, about the importance of today? Say that this does go sideways on them. How far does this set them back, sort of excluding potentially rebuilding the pad, but sort of in their plans? How bad would this be? I think if it goes poorly and there isn't as much damage to the... I mean, obviously, anything that is anomalous is going to set them back. But if there isn't physical damage in Florida on the pad, which is, I think, the greatest risk here, is that they're going to slow down the other things they're trying to do, including commercial crew, if there is too much damage. But if they get it off the ground and then something happens, I think, it obviously is going to set Falcon Heavy back. They would like their next launch to have a paying customer on it. But they will learn a lot, and I think they'll come back and they'll do it again, and it'll be in better shape because they will have learned
learned about what the issues are. I think they would rather it be successful with some issues that they can learn from than that it be unsuccessful. But first, getting off the ground and away from the pad is stage one. Also, I should say, all these attempts to land the first stages back at all these various points, that's cool. But like, again, that's a nice to have. Like getting this thing to launch and go where it needs to go, even if some of the first stages don't come back, it's fine. Like that's all extra. That's icing on the cake.
Yeah. Well, we are approaching 60 seconds, so let's hand it over to them and listen in.
All right.
M1D engine chill is complete.
ASTS is ready for launch.
Ground gas closeouts are complete.
Falcon Heavy is in startup. Stage 2 pressing for flight.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Launch director on countdown 1. SpaceX Falcon Heavy, go for launch.
All right, go for launch.
Falcon
30.
Heavy is configured for flight.
We're down to 15.
Standby for terminal count.
If you're on the Relay FM live stream, you should probably be watching the YouTube stream.
Side booster ignition.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition.
There it goes.
I like it. I like the look of that. Oh, look at that thing go.
So 1.5 kilometers in altitude already, going 500 kilometers an hour.
I think people are excited, Stephen.
A lot of happy SpaceX employees right now.
Right. That's a great point he's making there, that this is the Apollo pad that was used for a lot of the Apollo missions.
So it's approaching max Q, which is the maximum dynamic pressure on the vehicle. So they throttle back the engines to pass through that.
Vehicle is supersonic.
You've heard the call out. Vehicle is supersonic.
This is it's a big step.
Looks like Discovery from 2001 there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just needs a bigger ball on the front.
Throttling back up to full power.
I love that we have live pictures from the rocket.
It seems impossible, right? The thing is moving 2,200 kilometers an hour, and we're just live streaming it to YouTube.
Booster engine cut off in separation. 2.5 minutes into flight.
This is going, they passed my issue, right, Stephen? Which is they got off the ground.
They did. Pad is safe and sound.
I believe they flood that thing with water like they did with Apollo, right? Which is like a noise and vibration abatement thing where they flood the whole thing beneath it with water, which is why there's that huge steam plume, because it reduces the noise and vibration dramatically, but it also makes it look that much more dramatic. But you've got, in addition to the smoke, you've got the steam.
In preparation for the upcoming shutdown in 20
Yeah, the pad itself is built up. SpaceX had a press photo. You can see from the side there's a huge channel in there. They actually made that bigger and more robust to handle the Falcon Heavy, and it dumps a ton of water very quickly.
Major event coming up with side booster shutdown and separation.
All right, now the two side boosters are going to shut down now and pop
and
off.
There they go.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. We got a lot of stuff in the air now.
Yeah.
Talk about juggling. We got some juggling going on here.
So you've got 3 lower stages that are going to come back and land again. The core is going to be on the drone ship, and the 2 outer lower stages are going to be landing, while the center upper stage will continue on with Musk's Tesla with basically a crash test dummy in it. coming by the sun and Mars in that orbit.
So there goes the other first stage. So all 3 first stages are out now. Now, there's going to be more action here in about, I think it's 6 hours, because one of the things they have to do in order to get in this Mars transfer orbit, which is not actually going to Mars, but it will go as far as the orbit of Mars and then kind of come back in toward the orbit of Earth. So they will turn off the engine, it'll coast for 6 hours, and then they will relight it, which tells them some other things about their ability to light the engine. Time to play Life on Mars.
Yeah. You got to give their media team props. They do a really good job with this stuff.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see the
oh my God.
The lighting.
Look at that image, the fairings deployed.
Oh my God.
And you can just see the car
and the crash test dummy. Oh my God! Don't panic on the front dash. That is that's amazing. Showmanship. I'll take it. Yeah. All right, so they will relight the engine in like 6 hours. People are on TV; they're very excited. 2.3 million people watching this live stream, by the way, so that's pretty good. Not ours. There's like 8 people watching ours, but that's okay. That's okay.
SpaceX.
It's and so now we're gonna get those. We're gonna get those returns. Although their video, it looks like they got the same. They got 2 images there, but it looks like it's the same, right? Those aren't the different ones, right?
I'm not sure.
It's hard to say.
I don't know how
they could be very close.
They are. Yeah.
I mean, they could have exactly the same program. I don't know. But we have 3 boosters coming back now. See, now they've got the three different shots, plus they've got the shot of the spaceship. There is a lot of data. We were talking about how when they wanted to launch 2 Gemini missions simultaneously, they had to figure out how to rewire mission control in order to talk to 2 separate spacecraft. Now look at this. They are wired here to have 3 returning first stages, plus the spacecraft itself that is firing off its second stage.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I saw a tweet go by. MSNBC, CNN, and Fox pulled away from some briefing in DC to show this. It's a big step and it's exciting. People maybe my age who weren't around at the beginning of the shuttle. The shuttle was unfortunately pretty routine by the time I came around. This is kind of the biggest launch we've seen in a long time. There's a lot of excitement well outside the space community. It's not just us liftoff nerds.
Yeah, well, I mean, never underestimate the power of a really big rocket. I suppose that's part of it, right? It was guaranteed to be a spectacular thing, and it was a spectacular thing, and quite right. That's a lot of the journalists, as it got pushed back earlier today, the 2 hours that it got pushed back a bunch of times with different weather balloon readings. Somebody tweeted something that was STS-135, if it taught us anything, it's that things can change in a heartbeat. So the last shuttle launch, which was mine, I was there, and we were told when I showed up at 5 a.m. or whatever to KSC, they said it's like a 5% chance that it's going to go because there's clouds everywhere. It's not going to happen. And then as we got closer to launch, they're like, well, it's like a 20%. And we're like, I don't know, 20%. It's still, and then it went right on time. I think they did like a 5-minute hold and then they launched it. So things can happen in a hurry. Speaking of which, the 2 first stages are coming back to landing zone 1 and 2 now. You can see the Cape right below. Yeah, I guess those are the shots look identical, but they're actually just 2 boosters on very similar trajectories. Oh,
the
and now we've got a shot.
Very close. Yeah, that shot from the ground of it coming back is a pretty cool one. I bet I'm just gonna go out and say they're gonna land all 3.
You think so?
This is the easy part.
They've gotten really good at it. They've gotten really good at it.
They've done, I believe, 21 booster landings at this point. So this would be numbers 22, 23, and 24, if I have that number correct.
Yeah. Oh, you can see one of them in the other shot.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, there they come simultaneously. Good Lord. What is happening?
Landing zone 1 and 2 look good.
All right, nailed it.
Holy moly.
Yeah, they're just showing off now. That is amazing.
I know what my wallpaper is going to be on my iMac for a little while. It's going to be one of those shots of those things coming down together.
Wow, that's like synchronized swimming in the Olympics or something, or like figure skating, right? It's like we're just going to drop these two guys off.
Check on your screen. Sometimes this footage goes out when it approaches the
We're waiting on that core come down.
Yeah, and it's out in the ocean, so they do have connectivity issues, like they're saying, but Stage 2 is in the nominal parking orbit, which is pretty great.
It's good. So we're just going to wait and see if that drone ship came through. Again, that's not unusual, right? Most of the times they land on the drone ship, they do lose footage.
Yeah, it's like the antennas themselves are shaking so that they can't make the connection.
Yeah.
Nope.
We're waiting to hear what happens, and so we're listening.
Almost confirmed, but not.
Waiting to hear. We'll let you know as soon as we find
It's always there's always that moment of like, did they do it? I'm just thinking about that video they put out of how not to land an orbital booster with just all the crashes where they smashed it into the ocean.
Yeah.
Just playing in my head over and over. It's over and over right now.
It's a good way to learn.
Meanwhile, the second stage is continuing its trajectory towards Mars.
Towards Mars. Now, so there. Come on, guys. I get the Mars thing, but it's like it's Mars orbit. It's not going to go actually to Mars, and they do have to fire the engine again to get in that elliptical orbit. But still, look at that. Oh my God. The spaceman is driving his Tesla.
I wonder if they named him. He was a name.
Cameras cycling right now. Live views coming down from lower.
Call him Major Tom.
There you go.
And it got there as the culmination of a great Falcon Heavy test flight. We lit 27 engines, throttled the boosters up and down.
27 engines.
Side boosters. They came back spectacular
You can see how excited these SpaceX people are often excited, but they're not usually this excited. This is legitimately excited.
Yeah. Second stage cutoff when it's planned.
Yeah.
So it's now in that coasting phase for a while.
Wow, what an absolutely momentous occasion. Thank you so much to the range for contributing.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yes.
To today's launch.
They're just thanking people now.
Thanks to the range. It's like the credits are going to run. They're going to bring Life on Mars back. Well, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal that this went off. Like that first time, we talking about the first space shuttle launch and how the space shuttle was not capable of being piloted remotely. Mm-hmm. And so they had to put a couple of guys in space shuttle on having never flown it before with all the pieces attached. That is white knuckle stuff. And today, even though there weren't people on board, I mean, it's the same situation. So, look at that. Now they're just doing some replays and playing the music. That sounds about right. Fair enough.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible.
Well, I guess we'll find out later whether they nailed the third first stage or not. But doesn't matter. Like this is
it's a huge success either way.
I think so. This is pretty great.
Cool. Well, if you hung out with us, thanks for joining us today. It was a lot of fun. Yeah,
thanks very much. It was just we thought we would watch together and let you watch too. And
you and I, we would be texting back and forth anyways, so we figured why not do it
really
in public?
And see if we could do a live audio stream and a live video stream, which I think came off. So thanks to everybody out there, because that's it. Look, it's over, and they've moved us back to the generic SpaceX stuff. So, all right, well, that's it. The live Liftoff podcast look at Falcon Heavy, which is in space now. Woo!
See you, Jason.
All right. Bye, Steven.